Boys and girls, it's story time. So a few years ago, I'm in my office. I get a phone call from a client that says, Jimmy, I've got bad news. My house is burned down. And it's not often that we hear of a fire taking the entire structure down. It's just not often that we hear about that. So I listened to what he had to say, and then I decided I'm going to go out there to his house because this is a traumatic thing for the client, and I want to be there to show him some compassion. It's hard. They just lost everything they had. So I get out there, and you know what? It was absolutely true. They lost absolutely everything. There was maybe 2 charred walls standing, half walls. The wife is crying, he's crying. I'm trying to not cry because I'm upset for him, right? And so we talk about filing a claim. I helped him file the claim, called up, reported the fire. So I stayed a little bit longer, and then I left, and it was later in the day, so I just went home. Next morning, I get to my office. There's an email that says that they're sending the fire inspector out there. And that's not an odd thing. That's really normal. They want to send somebody out there to see what caused the fire, to make sure that it was legitimate, make sure that maybe the insured didn't start the fire. I decided I'm going to go out there when he's out there and meet him. I drive out there. When I get there, the customer is standing over by where the house used to be, and closer to the road is the fire inspector and the state fire marshal. I walk up to the state fire marshal and fire inspector, introduce myself, and I shake their hands, and then I go over to my client and shake his hand, and we're talking a little bit. Well, after just a little bit, the fire inspector walks over to us and says, hey, do you mind if I have a little bit of time with the client alone? And again, this is not odd. They want to talk to the client alone to get an unvarnished, unrehearsed, unadvised version of the story of what happened. And so I said, fine. I walked over to the fire marshal. I'm just chit-chat with him. And it wasn't 2, maybe 3 minutes that the fire inspector shook my client's hand, walked over to us, told us he was done, had everything he needed, and left. This is odd because typically they spend 30 minutes, maybe 45 minutes to an hour talking to them just to trying to get the story. And he had left. But nothing I can do. I go back to the office, work the rest of my day, go home and get there the next morning, and my curiosity is just getting the best of me. And so I called the insurance company. I got the inspector's name, phone number, all that stuff. So I called the fire inspector, and he didn't answer. So I leave a voicemail. A little bit later, I call again. He doesn't answer. And I'm not real worried about it. He's probably busy, and so I leave another message. And so I call again, and he doesn't answer. But I leave another message, and I'm beginning to worry that maybe there's something going on that I don't know. And so I'm sitting there in my office, and my phone rings, and it's a number that I don't recognize, but I answer it anyway. It turns out to be the fire inspector. So I tell him who I am, what I'm calling about, and I say, hey, you left real quick yesterday. You didn't talk to the client very long at all. I said, is there something wrong? He said, no, there's nothing wrong, but I'm 100% sure that your clients didn't start the fire. And I'm like, 100%? How can you be sure 100%? He says, well, while I'm there and we're talking, I find out that his dogs perished in the fire, which I guess the fire marshal had already told him. And he said, I also found out that he lost his entire gun collection of about 15 guns in the fire. And he said, people will do a lot of stuff, but people won't burn their animals, and they certainly won't burn their gun collection. He said, so taking all that and everything I can see, I'm 100% certain that they didn't start it. So I finished up the conversation, hanging the phone up with the fire inspector. Again, I'm shocked that he's made that decision so easily. So my client gets cleared because his animals died and his gun collection burned up. Who knew? I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope it's been helpful, entertaining. If you liked it, please like, subscribe, and hit that bell so that way when I post new stuff, you'll get notifications. Thank you so much. Have a blessed day.